Hi guys! I'm doing my antique slash vintage book haul. Can books be vintage? Is that a correct description there, or am I going all closey there? But I went to an antique fair with my parents around the time of my birthday, so ages ago, and unexpectedly I bought a number of books. Wasn't expecting to find any books. Didn't even really know what I was looking for, but I ended up getting 5. So you said you'd like to see them, and I am more than happy to show them to you. So I will just jump in and show you. First, these two were only 50p, and they're old penguins from the 1950s. First one is The Lydian Leak by Raymond Chandler, which is a crime detective novel. I have never read any of Raymond Chandler, but my dad said that he was pretty good and pretty famous in the detective genre, and I usually like a good detective story from the 19th, 20th century, so I hopefully will enjoy this. I don't know what this particular mystery is about, but I like the title, we reference to King Arthur there, so picked this one up, and it was in really good nick. A bit of water staining, but the spine is pretty intact there. There's Raymond, there's Raymond, there's Raymond there. Then I got a John Wyndham book. I was still reading Midwich Cookies at the time that I got this, but I was enjoying it, so I was like, 50p, I'll pick up another one. This is The Chrysalids. Again, another science fiction novel. Not actually sure what this one is about, but you know, so genetic mutation. That sounds good. Yeah. So yeah, another John Wyndham book for me to read and enjoy, hopefully. So that was pretty good for 15p. The spine's not quite, it's coming apart a little bit more than the other one, but it's in readable condition, and that's what matters. Next, I thought it was the first one I actually found, and I thought it was pretty cool. And it's a tiny little Sherlock Holmes book. I collect things to do with Sherlock Holmes, so it doesn't really matter to me that I have all 3 of these stories already. It's a collection of 3 stories. It has The Dancing Men, which is one of my all-time favourites, The Man with the Twisted Lip, and His Last Bow in it. But yeah, I sort of collect Sherlock Holmesy things. Yeah, so I thought I would get this little book because it was only £3. There was some other quite cool Sherlock Holmes books, one of which I think was a first edition of the original publishing of the entire collection, if that makes sense, because they weren't originally published all together, so this was one of the first printings of them all together, but it was like 60 quid, and I didn't really have that on me, but maybe one day. Yeah, so this was a cutie. This was published in the 1920s, and I think that's really nice, really good condition. Next was the oldest book in the pile, and this is a copy of Aesop's fairy tales from the 1800s, so I thought that was pretty cool. It's in pretty good condition for being that old. I think it's generally just age wear, saying it's in pretty good condition. Even has little tiny illustrations as well as tiny text, so it's a good thing my vision's still 20/20. Better read that quick before it goes. Yeah. And last but not least, I cannot believe I found this book. It was just one of those things where I was like, I have to have that now that I've randomly found it in an antiques fair. It's like it was waiting for me, and it is Once Upon a Time, children's stories from the classics. So these are all children's stories based on ancient Greek and Roman myths. Obviously right up my street. Yeah, and it's got lovely coloured illustrations in it. It's from the 1920s. For example, Pan being a lecture, I'm sure. Dionysus, I think that is. Trojan horse. Prometheus, looking cheery as always. Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty amazing find. I think it cost me £7, and it's in really good condition, and I really look forward to reading this one actually. I looked it up, and I think you can still actually buy this book, just in a more recent printing, as far as I could tell. But I like this edition. And that is all of the books that I got in the Antiques Fair. I hope you found that interesting. It was an interesting experience for me. The sort of surprise of finding these books. I did get something else which isn't a book and isn't at all old, it's new. It's a DVD. It's based on a book, so I thought I'd just show it to you since it was sitting in front of me. And it's Fellini's Satyricon, which is based on the Latin novel, The Satyricon, which I have mentioned before. It's one of my favourite classics. It's very, very funny. It's quite explicit, and the film's an 18, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be quite explicit too. But I really, really enjoyed the book, and I just thought it would be interesting to see this adaptation. I think there is some changes as far as I can tell from reviews, but yeah, I thought it would be quite funny to watch, so I think I'm going to get some of my classics chums to sit down and watch this with me. But if anybody's seen this, please let me know, and if you've seen it and haven't read the book, then please go read the book. The Satyricon is fantastic. Yeah, well, that is the end of my video. I hope you all have a lovely week. Bye!